Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the In Between podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Cheney. Happy to be here. Hope you are as well. I'm going to assume so since you're listening. But we are here at the first week of May. But let me start that over again. The first week of May, Taurus season. Well, that kind of started like a week ago, but I love May. As you all know, it's my birthday. We got Mother's Day. We got so many different things. We got May the 4th, that really important Star Wars day. That's not even a real day, but the fans made it a day. I have no idea where I'm going with that one. But yes, a lot of wonderful things happening in May. What's something else? Oh, I don't know. Mental Health Awareness Month? Yes, Mental Health Awareness Month. And for those who don't remember, don't know, maybe you're new to the show, last year I did an episode about Mental Health Awareness Month. It was honestly one of my first more vulnerable episodes. And I don't really know what I mean by vulnerable because I feel like recording myself each week is vulnerable enough. But this episode in particular was the first time that I felt like I really, I don't know, pulled the layers back, really got to talk about what I go through and things that I struggle with and just to bring some more awareness, get it? Mental health awareness to the pod, to my community. So you can go back and check it out. I can link it in the show notes, but I just want to open my arms, extend my heart, give you a virtual hug for anybody who struggles with mental health, anxiety, depression. There are so many different things out there, disorders, ailments, whatever you want to call it. But to be honest, I call it superpower sometimes. Depends on the day of the week. But you're important. You matter. Whatever is going on, whatever you're dealing with, it doesn't necessarily define your worth. It doesn't. Sure, it can bring us down sometimes. It can trip us up a little bit, but we get back up. We get back on the horse because that's just what we do, baby. You know what I mean? So to all my listeners, this is a PSA that mental health matters. You matter. You are important. I'm so happy you're here. And let's kick off May with a great energy, great attitude, and let's go crush our goals. All right, all right. So now we got that out of the way. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So very excited about a couple episodes coming out this month. I talked about it a little bit on last week's episode, but I got 2 Mother's Day episodes planned. One's coming out next week, and then the other one will follow the week after. So you'll get one before and after Mother's Day. Very excited about that. Again, filming with Brittany Crabb. We're doing a Star Wars themed episode. So yeah, we're filming it this week on the 4th. So that will come out later this month. And then, of course, I'm going to bring T back on and do that part 2 of infertility. So a lot of great things happening on the pod. Very excited. So buckle up and get ready. Yeah. I am attempting to film today's episode on video. So hopefully this checks out. Hopefully you're able to watch it in video. If not, well, this is going to age pretty poorly. Oh, goodness. So let's see, what's been going on the past week or so since I talked to you? Well, I was one of the very few, apparently, who did not go to the Taylor Swift concert. Yes, I'm sure you've all heard of the Eras Tour. Taylor Swift, I'm sure you heard of her. That girl, she's been around for almost 2 decades. Singer-songwriter, megastar. Yeah, so she just came through Atlanta the past weekend, and everyone and their mother went, but your girl. Not that I don't like Taylor Swift. I think she's great. I think she is an amazing lyricist, but I just couldn't. I don't like her enough to spend over $1,000. And that's pretty much how much the tickets were. But man, I definitely had some FOMO. I'll admit that. I'm big enough to admit that. It was really wonderful living vicariously, or should I say, it was really awesome for my FOMO living vicariously through everybody, watching their reels and their stories on social media. But looks like she put out a hell of a show. I'm just so impressed, for sure, for sure. Do I wish she would have a little bit of a different sound? Yes, I do. But that's, again, not me hating by any means. I could not do what Taylor Swift does. There is absolutely no way. Was 1989 a banger? Yes, it was. I just feel like a lot of her albums since then, although the lyrics, the content is amazing. I almost said delicious, but hey, delicious works too. But the sound still sounds, they all sound very similar, I guess is what I'm saying. So here for the lyrics, but can we change up the noise? But either way, she's amazing and has really created quite the career. And the one thing I do want to say about Taylor Swift that I am astounded by, maybe that's a little dramatic, but the thing that blows my mind, blows me out of the water with her and her career is she is a mega superstar, right? She has levels of fame that even famous people will never acquire or get to, right? And her brand, her as a brand, her artistry as a brand, her creation, her content as a brand, it is unstoppable. Like she is a machine. She is a business. She is a brand. And, I was thinking about what it takes to portray that image and as strongly as she has. And that's not an easy feat. I'm not trying to say that what we're seeing is not the real Taylor Swift. No, I'm not saying that at all. But you have to admit, like, there's probably a level of what we see with her in any performance, red carpet, video, music video, movie, whatever, that there's a brand there. There is, I'm not trying to say fake because it's not at all, because you cannot do this to the level that she does for as long as she has and that not be you and that not come out in the cracks and not come out in the media somehow. You know what I mean? So, like, hear me. I'm not saying she's a closet mean girl, not at all. But the point I really am trying to make is when you think about her as a brand, how she's grown and where she's grown from, and this image that she has maintained for herself. It's not necessarily squeaky clean, but it's just like what you're gonna get. Like you know what to expect from her. There's not gonna be any crazy, publicity stunt. Like she is a powerhouse brand. And I have a lot of respect for that because that's not easy. And when you are that famous, like I'm just gonna assume like you don't really have any level of privacy, right? So to maintain that image and not freak out. I mean, I'm sure she's got a team behind her, but I'm just really impressed with that because like that's not freaking easy by any means. So my hat's off to you, Taylor. 3-hour show is no easy feat either. And the production looked beautiful. Again, as I say, watching through my little iPhone screen, but very impressed. And yeah, she got some FOMO. She meaning Liz. Liz has FOMO. Although I'm sure Taylor Swift has FOMO about the In Between podcast too. Let's be real. Let's see, what else did I do? So, while everyone was at Taylor Swift, I went to Moulin Rouge, the musical. It was great. I always love a good musical, right? It came out a couple of years ago. Maybe it wasn't too long ago that the musical came out. Won several Tonys. What's my opinion of it? The movie's better. I'm not going to say the musical is bad by any means, but the movie is better. So if you see Moulin Rouge, the movie, you're good. You're good. Don't feel like you missed out. You're not going to have FOMO like the Taylor Swift concert. But you get more substance in a movie sometimes, and I just felt like it felt a little rushed, I guess is what I'm getting at. And the main villain, who is the Duke, I felt like the stakes weren't really there in the play production for you to really hate this person and to really think that they are horrible. The movie, yes. And I know you can do more in a movie, but they could have still done more in the production of the play to kind of allude to how horrible of a person the Duke is. So there's that. Secondly, one of the things I loved about Moulin Rouge, the movie, besides the costumes and the acting, but are the songs. And the songs mostly are variations of modern songs. And this was like 80s, 90s, early 2000s. That's kind of the music that was behind the movie. And there are a few songs in the movie that, like the Elephant Love Medley, you can Google it, and then Tango Roxanne, two really powerful songs. They changed them for the play production. Like they changed the modern song that they used, they updated it. So Tango Roxanne, which is supposed to be Roxanne by the Police, was updated to, I think it was Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. Similar vibe, but it's different than the other song, an Elephant Love Medley being maybe one of the, if not the most epic song. They completely changed all the variations of it. So a little bummed about that. But it got me thinking, Moulin Rouge, the musical, how they're making, and it's not that they just now started doing this, but in the past couple of years, they've really hit like these movie musicals, like taking movies and making them a musical. Part of that is there's no new ideas. I mean, you see it in TV and TV and television. You see it in television and film. They're rebooting everything. You're getting sequels from movies from decades ago. There's not a lot of new content, which is, sad, but it's just the world we live in right now. Plus, once they've learned that reboots make money, well, we're going to live in this era for a little bit of time. That's about all. Well, actually, let me think. Are there any other updates worth educating you guys on? Oh my God. Well, I'll save this update because it kind of goes into today's spiel, today's episode, today's in between. So this is going to be one of the last episodes I have with you guys for the next few weeks alone. Okay. Like I said, beginning of the episode, I have a lot of guests I have come in, bringing on recording. So the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot of people up in the in between. So that's exciting. Love that. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing my voice. But with that said, I was like, okay, so this is going to be kind of my May episode until the end of the month to be with you all. And I mentioned this already, but yeah, we're in Taurus season, so that's worth calling out. My birthday is in 2 weeks, so don't forget, May 14th, cough, cough. But May is also the 1 year anniversary of launching the podcast. Yeah, isn't that exciting? 1 year of publicly announcing the In Between podcast. And I wanted to take today or take this week's episode, this In Between, to share what this journey the past year has been. Talk about the highs, the lows, what I've learned, what I've liked, what I've disliked. I mean, all the ins and outs of doing this labor of love, creating, putting out my content, my passion, this journey, this path, this career, this one day I'm going to make this my career. Like, yes, I've talked about that 1,000 times on the pod before, but as I was writing today's episode, like kind of bulleting, thinking about what I'm going to put out there, I was reflecting on the fact that it's been a year, and that is a huge milestone. And I remember how nervous I was. And mind you, when I launched this publicly, I had already been doing the pod for about 2 months. I was just low key sending it to my close inner circle, my friends' family, letting them hear it, get their buy in. Well, not really buy in, but their feedback, their 2 cents, and just give myself some space to grow and get better and comfortable at it. But I was still so nervous to finally publicly announce. Was the episode I announced on the strongest? I don't think so, but that's okay. It was about launching a podcast. I was so nervous, but here I am a year later, and man, I would not change anything. And I would have started this journey 15 times earlier if I could, but hey, that's part of the journey, part of the story. But I do not regret doing this, following my passion, following my dreams, because that's ultimately what I'm doing. And I'm finally, after a year, finally getting to this place where the imposter syndrome isn't constantly flooding my head, my thoughts. I'm not constantly trying to convince myself that I deserve to be here, that my voice deserves to be heard, that my words matter, and I can make an impact. I can help others. I can entertain. I can be your friend. We can be buddies. We can be besties. We can help support each other and lift each other up. So this week's In Between is reflecting on the year journey that we've been on so far. So let's talk about the bad first, the negative. I know, don't want to start on negative, but hear me out. It's more about learning curves, the anxieties, imposter syndromes that come with everything, because I think this is worth sharing, because most of the time, all you see is the pretty, you see the perfect, you see the put together. And that is what inhibits you from starting, from putting yourself out there, doing whatever it is that you're doing, right? We compare ourselves to the highlight reel. And so I want to share all the good and the bad, right? The highs and lows. So here we go. Things that I struggled with. The imposter syndrome, first and foremost, especially in the beginning, having no idea what I was doing, just starting. I had this idea that I had to have everything figured out. I had to have a website. I had to have all my branding. I had to have a logo. I had to have an intro song figured out. I had to have a trailer. I needed to have 4, 5, 6 weeks of content already planned out. I needed to have a robust social media calendar, all the posts, all the things. I needed to know all the things. I'm not saying that you don't have to know that. I'm not saying that that's not important and worth having all that put together. But for me, also having a 9 to 5, because this isn't my full-time job yet, going to be one day, but also having just come out of the deepest, darkest depression I have ever been in, a 5-year depression. I was terrified. I was finally mentally okay. I was more stable, if you want to be like that. I finally had a sense of self-worth again for the first time in 5 years, feeling like Elizabeth and less of a shell of a human being that didn't know who they were in their own skin. But I was so terrified because I've just been so low 5 years, and now I'm about to do the thing that I've been wanting to do for all those 5 years, and I'm still in a very vulnerable place, but I did it. I had the help of a girlfriend, one of my best friends, Courtney. She helped push me over the ledge. She was like, metaphorically, hey, you just got to do it. And I don't know what it was, but her looking me straight in the face after we were working on my makeshift podcast album cover, she was like, you need to go home and just record. And whatever comes out, you need to post it. And you can hear that episode today. You can hear it today. It's called In Between Draft Mode. It's the very first episode, and I highly encourage you to go listen to it. It's a little awkward. It's 8 minutes long. There's no intro music. And if you listen carefully, you can hear how terrified I am. But that to me is the most vulnerable, sure, but one of the most important episodes I'll probably ever put out. And I'll always keep it up there because you can hear the nervousness. You can hear the self-doubt. You can hear the lack of confidence, but you also hear this person who's putting their voice out there, who is maybe scared shitless and not sure where this path is going to go, but I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And this is the first part of that journey. So again, I had to think I had to have it all put together. I had to have everything ready. And really all I needed was just me. I just needed me, a mic, a computer, or at least something to record with, and my voice. The rest will follow. So I think about what was stunting me besides like obviously my mental situation, my mental health situation. But it was also like this idea that I had to have everything because you look on the social medias, you look at other people, other podcasters, other content creators, and they've got everything put together. They are freaking killing it. So it's like, not so much am I killing it. Doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on that. Just create, just put it out there. So imposter syndrome of not having it all put together, figuring things out while you go one foot in front of the other, being disappointed by the download numbers, but also keeping in mind that, hey, you're working, you're growing. Like you don't have this robust budget and calendar to push ads and push content. You don't even have a website yet. But knowing all that, sure, but it still creates imposter syndrome. It makes you think that you're not legit when you are in a sea of people who have everything together, right? And you see other people whose numbers are climbing and you can barely get 10 new follows in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, right? Again, it comes. So I realize now I'm kind of like talking about the negative, but also giving like this positive voice. So how about this? The negative comes from past Liz. The positive comes from Liz today to kind of offer that duality of like where I've come from, how I've grown, and the peace I offer myself now. Hopefully, maybe that will translate to you listening. I'm not quite sure, but let's fingers crossed, right? Another thing that I struggled with is the motivation to keep going. All of these things kind of tie in together, like imposter syndrome, being overwhelmed, comparing yourself, but they're still worth being called out for. So the motivation to keep going. Part of that comes from the learning curve. I am not an audio engineer. I'm not a sound producer. But guess what? Your girl does all her own stuff. She edits everything. She produces everything. But the learning curve of all the skill sets that I've had to teach myself to do all this, man, that constantly overwhelms you and makes you self-doubt because it takes you hours to do like a 20-minute episode because you are not sure what the heck you're doing, right? So that's discouraging. All the time to do it when you're exhausted and then you're like, I'm not doing the social media that needs to go along with it. Is the content good? I'm still learning. I'm still getting comfortable. All the while, you're still comparing yourself to everybody. And then you're only getting 10 downloads an episode. You're getting 15 downloads an episode. So pushing yourself to keep going, that's really hard when you're looking at low numbers. Also, creating something from nothing, like uninterrupted focus time, where you have to create the structure. It's not like a predetermined role, like you're creating this career, this path, this whatever yourself. That's hard. That is hard. And that's ultimately the biggest thing that plays into all of this. Like you're figuring it out as you go. And Liz now can sit here and say, damn, I wouldn't have it any other way. Look at where I've come. Look at where I've grown. Sure, it is hard sometimes, discouraging. I wish I had somebody to help me batch content, to help me come up with social media ideas, content ideas. Goodness gracious, somebody to edit this damn podcast. That would be excellent. I would love that. But I'm not there yet. However, I've gotten so much better. I look back and I'm like, damn, the content that I'm producing is better. My motivation to continue to do it's more. I'm getting more downloads. I'm not getting a ton, but I'm also not putting a lot of money behind this right now. It's all been word of mouth. So thanks to you and my very full social calendar of hustling and trying to get myself out there, we are slowly growing. So the numbers will come. I will go on a limb and just tell you right now, the numbers are not anywhere where I want them to be. And I was a little discouraged a few weeks ago thinking, damn, I'm coming up on a year and I'm still not breaking 100 every single episode. Most of the time they'll get there eventually after a few weeks, maybe even a few months, but off the bat, no, they don't. But look at what else I've learned. Look at where else I'm going and where I've come from. Your girl is finally working on a website. I've been teasing that. I spent like 4 hours record yesterday. We spent several hours the other week. That's coming in a few weeks. I'm hoping by the end of the month, maybe into June. Boom, it's coming. That will bring in more content and being able to push stuff out and bring more SEO optimization, all these things that a year ago, if you would have said that to me, I would have passed out. I would have been overwhelmed. I would have been like, I am just trying to create an episode a week. So let's chill. Another thing that I struggled with, learning curves, I've mentioned this, but never forget when I got my first, well, not my first, it's my only, like when I got my digital workstation, audio workstation, my little Rodecaster. Seems fancy. It's all lit up, but I mean, it is fancy. I'm not going to say it seems. It's absolutely fancy. But again, learning curve, new thing to figure out, new thing to play around with. And when I got it, I could not figure out how to get the sound to play on my computer. Once I got it hooked up to my computer, got my mics and all that stuff set up, I would record, I would see the sound being captured, but I couldn't hear the playback. I spent probably close to 3 hours. 3 hours Googling, researching, reaching out to them, thinking that I've pressed every freaking button on this machine, this device, and still can't figure it out. So frustrated. And then I realized that there's one button I haven't pressed yet. What do you think happened? It worked. The sound worked. So I spent 3 hours frustrated when the answer is right in front of me. So that's been a lot of fun. And I'm sure there is a life lesson in there somewhere, but we're going to keep moving past because I wanted to cry by how stupid I felt when I realized it was just the button right in front of me. So good times. But the learning curve is real. I mean, doing this, the learning curve with yourself, of pushing yourself, of that uninterrupted focus time and making something out of nothing, that is a whole learning curve. All of the technology that comes with it. Thankfully, I am a little tech intuitive. So there's that, but doesn't mean I am excellent at it. So it's learning new video editing, audio editing, different types of programs and things I can learn for graphic design and posts and content and automation, I'd like to get there, but we're not there yet. So yes, it's been a humbling year of learning. Guess what? I've learned. I do everything. Is it freaking perfect? By no means, no. And yeah, once your girl starts making some money, she's going to outsource that 1,000%. But I can still appreciate and honestly, hell freaking yeah, be proud of everything that I've done and I've created to get to this point. Yes, other people helped me. Yes, I would brainstorm with people. If you're listening, you're one of my good friends. Chances are I have picked your brain 1,000 times over probably some simple concept about the in-between. And thank you for listening. But with the help of others, getting thoughts out of my head, being patient with myself, oh my gosh, that is a high and low, up and down. Being patient, loving myself. Imposter syndrome makes you self-doubt like a mother trucker, you know what I mean? But no matter how low I got, I still got back on the horse. Maybe I talked about it on the pod, but I did it. I still did it. I did the damn thing. And that is so, so incredible. Another thing is like people letting you down, learning how to interview people, thinking, oh, this person's charismatic. They're going to be a great interview. And then maybe not so much. You're pulling words. You're trying to pull content out of them, trying to pull stuff. And that's okay. That's what being a good interviewer, being a good podcast host needs to be. So I've learned how to be even better at that, being disappointed by people that I thought were going to support me and they didn't as much. But then realizing, or not so much realizing, but coming to, the place of like, hey, well, we're all busy. We're adults. We've all got other lives. I can't take anything personally by this path that I'm carving out for myself. I can just hope that you're with me and I hope that you enjoy it. And if you don't, maybe you give me some constructive feedback. I'm here for that. You know what I mean? But that's okay. You can't take it personally because for every one person that doesn't like you, I promise there's going to be 3 more. Maybe I haven't quite found all those 3 people yet. I'm just kidding. Of course I have. But you know what I'm trying to say. The growth will come. Don't let the negativity or I'm not going to say haters because it's not like I have haters, but any of that bring you down. Also, like knowing how to talk to strangers. Like I've had a few guests on the pod that I didn't know them before that we actually recorded. Believe it or not, yeah. And a few of those instances, those were some learning curves. Like expecting your guest to share your post and push out the content as well. I've learned lots of different things in that regard, and that's okay. It's okay that I've messed up. It's okay that so-and-so didn't push out my shit. You live and you learn. You get better. You get pickier, you get a little bit more, hey, sure, we can do a collaboration, but you're going to share my shit. I'll share yours too, but you're going to share my shit. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So, in summary, the past year has been focusing on the motivation to keep going, putting out an episode every week, editing it, coming up with content, coming up with a social post, trying to grow it, the constant imposter syndrome battle, telling myself that I'm worthy, that I'm worth being here, that my voice matters, that I'm doing the damn thing, I'm going to learn as I go. The disappointment of performance, an episode not performing as well as I'd hoped, not getting as many downloads as I wanted, not getting as much engagement as I'd hoped, maybe not being as happy with an episode as I thought I was. Maybe I'm like, that episode wasn't horrible, but like not my best. Dealing with that and the constructive feedback from others, but also the voice within yourself, which isn't always constructive. So being mindful of that and working on it, but also being empathetic to your needs and the place that you're at. Learning curves. Lots of learning curves. Lots of learning curves. Remember Lisdoms? Yeah. Not that that was a learning curve. Still love the idea of Lisdom, but guess what? I'm not in a place where I can put out fire content twice a week at the moment. So one day she'll come back, wisdoms, but right now, not so much. People letting you down, managing expectations. And then, with all that said, not having a robust plan yet with social media posting automations. I'm getting there. The website's going to help with that, but not quite having all of my eggs in the right basket to work smarter, not harder. Somewhere in the middle right now. I'm definitely on the path to working smarter, less harder, but we are still sweating in our boots just a little bit. And with that said, let's talk about the positive sides the past year. The people I've met. I have met so many incredible people on this path, and it's only been a year. From people reaching out, saying what content spoke to them, what message is helping them. I don't know if I can accurately articulate how much that means to me. Even if it's 10 people, 10 strangers, that's 10 strangers who not only listened to me, but took the time out to tell me what I mean to them, what my content means, what the messaging means. And this is why I do it. I don't mean that in a braggy way at all. It's like, I want us all to feel connected. I want us all to feel like we are worthy of being here in this universe, in this place, wherever you are on this floating rock. I want camaraderie. I want friendship. I want you not to feel as alone. So to know that I'm doing that in some regard, yes, let's keep going for another 10, 15 years and then some. Let's see what other in-betweens we can navigate together. I want that. So I've met so many incredible people. And with that, I've also developed this mindset of jump and the net will appear. Just go for it. Just dive in. I've used that mantra since the beginning of the pod, and I was scared shitless, but I kept doing it. And that fear has dissipated a little bit, not saying it's gone completely, but that mantra has been the driving force of this pod. So in those moments when I feel low, when I feel down, when I feel, man, maybe that wasn't the best episode. Maybe I could have done better here. Maybe I could have done better there. Oh, I wish I'd done a different post for this or different that. Still, I continue to jump. I continue to say yes. I continue to explore. I continue to not hold myself back. And that reward is the biggest payoff. It is what has helped with the imposter syndrome, what keeps me going. It is what tells me when I feel like I can't, I can. And it's what allows me to feel worthy in this space and to feel worthy of those messages and comments that I get. The fact that I put out an episode every week. Yes, there's been a few times when, we've been a little late, a day or two late, but I have had an episode come out every single week since I launched this podcast. Whether or not every episode was 1,000%, 10 out of 10, it was never below a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6 out of 10 for some of the beginning episodes. But that's just because I was learning my flow and learning my spiel, if you know what I mean. But thinking about how hard it's been and all the other things I mentioned in the beginning about the negativity and the hard parts of this journey, I am still very proud and can reflect and recognize, damn bitch, you crushing it. Every week, you do an episode, you come up with fresh content out of your mind, you edit it, you put it out there, you promote it in some way, shape, or form, and you do the damn thing. That is so rewarding, and I am so proud of myself for that. And it's just that constant pushing myself. Sometimes that comes with a balance of not pushing myself too hard, maybe checking in when I need to pull back. But it's also like thinking about other things in my life that I need to sacrifice to focus more on the in-between. Maybe social outings, social commitments, things like that. It's also being mindful of who I give my energy to and realizing that I can't be everyone's friend and I can't overcommit myself. And that's still a work in progress. Probably will always be, knowing me and my very extroverted self, but maintaining that balance and reworking it as needed. And when you get to a new level, like I've reached a new threshold with the in-between, adjusting other things to match that, right? So I want to get into video. That's a whole extra level of editing that needs to be involved. So that means there needs to be more time committed to editing each week on top of my 9 to 5. So it's just kind of making those adjustments and finding the balance that works for you. Because yeah, I'm hustling, but I also can't lose me and I can't lose my sense of self and I can't get burnt out because this is what I want to do with my life and this is fun. Even the hard parts of learning and the editing and all of that, it's still fun because it's what I want to do. And if I get burnt out, well, what is that going to do to my life path? It's probably going to stunt it a little bit. And that's not to say that I haven't been burnt out before with the pod here and there. Most of the time, burnout comes from other life stuff. But I'm just saying, like, making those adjustments, really just changing expectations within myself and priorities. You got to check in because self-love, self-awareness, it's all important. And it's what gets you from A to B. It's what helps you navigate whatever in between you're in, no matter how bad, no matter how good. I'm shortchanging it, sure, because I know there are some horrible, really shitty in-betweens. I don't understand why they happen, why we have to experience them, but it is the self-worth and self-love that gets you through there. So even in this year-long journey of doing my passion, following my dreams, there has been a strong presence of self-love, self-worth. Yep, sometimes I got to recheck myself, got to remind myself of who I am and why I'm doing it, but I always do. I always get back on the horse. And then I mentioned this kind of already, but I just want to close it out as well with thinking about everything that I've done this past year that I thought I had to have before I even started. And guess what? I'm still growing. I'm still getting new fans. Guys, I'm just getting started. So for anybody listening who wants to do something, you want a new job, you want to change careers, you want to launch a podcast, you want to roll out a blog, you want to create a product, you want to be a designer, you want to be a freelancer, you want to do something that ignites your soul, that fires up your heart, that just drives that passion, do it. Don't worry about all the things you think you need to have. You don't need to worry about what if, what's to come, where's it going to go, what's the end game. Yeah, you got to have an idea, okay? Do you have to have the 5-year plan? No. I'm sure some people listening may be going, oh my gosh, Liz, that's bad business advice. But as somebody who is not business-minded, who is a creative, who is self-aware as hell, who's got 1,000 million ideas and thoughts running through her mind a mile a minute, I'm telling you, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start, because once you start, the rest will follow. Now, it's up to you to continue to start, but as long as you're walking, you're putting one foot in front of the other, the rest will follow in the right timeline. The only timeline you have is, honestly, non-existent. Time is relative, first and foremost. You will figure it out in as much or as little time as you need. Don't beat yourself up if it takes longer, and don't brag if it takes you shorter. Do what works best for you. Just start, and don't give up, because before you realize, you will be a year into it, and you can look back and think, holy shit, I did the damn thing. I'm doing the damn thing. I'm going to continue to do the damn thing. And it's just an amazing feeling. It truly is. I guess this is me talking from my personal experience, so let me rephrase this. It is amazing to look back at the fresh, fragile woman I was a year ago, coming out of the darkest depression, deepest hole. And although I was scared shitless, I kept pushing myself. I kept putting one foot from the other. Here we are a year later, about to launch a website. I've got different topic series. I've got so many guests in the pipe that I'm going to bring on the pod, and I'm continuing to grow that and reach out to other people and connections. And I'm so excited. So cheers to 1 year and 15 million more to go. And I wish the best for you as well. I am cheersing to you. I am cheersing to you wherever you are in this past year, how your journey's been. I am rooting for you. I believe in you. And more importantly, I believe in your dreams. That's really hard to do. And I don't know if it's because society makes you feel silly to believe in dreams. Like, it's cool when you're a kid, but once you graduate college, honestly, even before then, it's like dreaming. Dreaming? You need to be a grown up. You need to go do adult shit. You need to go look at stocks and 401ks. Dreaming. Let me tell you, there's enough for both. There's enough for stocks and investments, and there's enough for dreaming. And I am going to lean towards the dreaming more so than the stocks and investments. Because one side, that completely overwhelms me, and I have no idea anything about it. So in between finances, that's an episode that I need to get out, need to put together. So if you're a finance guru, call me, message me, text me, let me know what you're into, and we can talk about it, because that's something I need to talk about. But jokes aside, your dreams, they matter. It may start as a dream, but it can become an idea, and it can become a real thing. Take the in-between as that message, that story for you, and continue with me on this journey. Let's see how we grow. Let's see how we go. Go to the top, baby. That's where we're going. You're coming with me. Your thing is going to be there too. We're all going to the top. We are, because there's enough space in this world for all of us. Even if there's millions of other podcasts out there, there's no Liz, there's no in-between. Well, technically there are several other in-between podcasts. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but there's no Elizabeth Cheney. There's no in-between with Elizabeth Cheney. And that's all that matters. That's all she wrote. So anywho, I will let you guys go. Thank you for joining me this week and taking a little journey down memory lane and reflecting on what this past year has looked like, how we've grown, where we're going. I'm just so excited, and I love that you're here. So hopefully this video works out, and you can see me in video if you're interested, or if you're curious as well. Check me out on YouTube. Otherwise, this will just be another audiogram, but that's okay too. And get excited for next week. Lisa's coming on. My girlfriend's Lisa, talking about being a mom, working mom, juggling that, all the multiple roles that a mom does, from the house to the work to friendship to partnership to all the things. And also taking care of yourself and being there for yourself. And then following that will be another episode with one of my moms. She's actually family. She's married to my cousin Evan. So she's going to come on and talk about your sense of self as a mom and what that looks like. I'm really excited to have both of them on. I think you're going to really enjoy the episodes. And yeah, cheers to a month filled of fun activities, aka my birthday, Mental Health Awareness Month, and great content from the in between. So if you aren't doing so already, go follow me on Instagram at in.betweenpod. You can follow my personal at ElizabethCheney_ to stay up to date with me as we get through the next couple of weeks. Well, I mean, stay up to date with me for the rest of time. But you know what I mean? As we get through these next few episodes where it's just going to be me and my friend, no solo episodes. And then you can follow me on TikTok at The In Between Podcast and on YouTube, The In Between Podcast as well. And if you haven't done so already, let's go rate, review, like, subscribe, follow all the things wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please, 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 please do so. It'll take you 3 seconds just to slap that 5-star rating because I know that's what you're going to do. So thank you all for being with me for the past year. Cheers to you. Cheers to me. Cheers to us. Cheers to navigating all the in-betweens this crazy life brings us. And hopefully together, it won't feel so alone. So I will see you next Wednesday for an all-new in-between. I'm Elizabeth, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Bye.